Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to welcome you to the proposed budget Audit and Finance Committee meeting for increases, additions, decreases, and deletions to the 2022 tentative annual budget. What I will do is start off by taking attendance. And I will start with Mr. Beston.
Here.
Ooh, okay. Mr. Brewski. Mr. Bergdorf,
Here.
it's so good to have you back.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's good to be back.
Ms. Chapman. Mr. Clay,
Here.
Mr. Cleary,
Here.
Mr. Camiso, Ms. Cunningham,
Here.
Mr. Demolowitz, Mr. Drake, Mr. Epicoro,
Here.
Mr. Ethier, Mr. Feeney.
Here.
Good evening, our majority leader, Mr. Fine. All right, Mr. Grimm,
Here.
Chairman Joyce,
Here, Madam Chair.
Mr. Ray Joyce, Mr. Kuhn, Ms. Lakakis,
Right here.
Ms. Lockhart,
Here.
Mr. Moriello, Mr. Mayo,
Here.
Ms. McLaughlin,
Present.
Ms. McLean Lane, Mr. Miller, Mr. O'Brien,
Here.
thank you very much, Mr. Purley, Mr. Peter,
Here, Madam Chair.
thank you very much, Ms. Plotsky,
Present.
Mr. Reedy, Mr. Reinhardt, Mr. Ricard,
Present, Madam Chair.
Mr. Simpson, Mr. Smith, Mr. Touche, Mr. Tunney, Mr. Ward,
Present.
Ms. Whalen, and Ms. Willingham. So all of our Audit and Finance Committee people are present, members are present. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move right along here. I can share the screen, the additions and deletions. Would you prefer that?
Yes, I would.
Yes, please.
All right, could you just give me just a moment
How do we share?
and we'll share the,
Yeah.
right on the screen, okay? Are you?
So how does that look for everyone? Because I can't see what you see.
Yeah, I just want to make
It's
sure.
great.
All right.
Beautiful.
I printed it out because it was the opposite way.
All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go by department and we'll vote by department. I need a motion on each one. Not each line, just for each department. All right, let's see. I got something up on my screen here. All right, very good. Okay, I just want to make sure too that I can see if anyone puts their hands up too. Because I just want you to remember this, because we are sharing the screen, all right? It would be best if you went in and raised your hand, because I can't see it. All right. Okay. Okay, very good. All right, so right now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the meeting. And we are going to start with the county executive. And the comment is pass without change.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter?
since there is no change, I'd make a motion to approve this.
Okay, I have a motion. Yeah, can I get a second?
Second here, Clay.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We're going to move on now to audit and control. All right, so do I have any questions on this? Not Mr. Peter.
Madam Chair, as it seems to be, I believe, almost complete budget neutral, I'd make a motion on this.
Yes, you may. I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I need a second.
I'll second.
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on now to the county clerk and hall of records.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, these are two big pay raises. So I have a question for our members. Would anyone be interested in meeting them halfway on this and including an increase of 50% as opposed to the amount they're requesting?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
understand you.
I'm sorry, one. Yeah, I'm asking the members if there's any interest in meeting them halfway and giving them half of the raise that they're requesting, because these are pretty big pay raises.
Madam Chair, this is Carolyn. Were these questions raised when the county clerk came to the meeting, or was there any issue with his request?
Oh, yeah, I've been at every hearing. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but what was there a response at the hearing regarding
Well,
that?
at the hearing, he made his plea for the money, but this is when we vote on it.
No, I understand that. Thank you very much, Mr. Grimm, for explaining that to me. I guess I wanted to know if there were any concerns that were raised regarding the amount of the increase at the hearing. I don't recall hearing any, so that's why I'm raising the question now. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Joyce. Andrew, you got to unmute.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a vote on this committee, but from my viewpoint, the county clerk's office rarely comes to us with asks. And if the county clerk wants to give his people raises, we should go ahead and stand by that decision and support him. They've run on shoestrings over the past several years, and given where we're seeing across many county departments, we're right sizing. There's a lot of analysis done on positions. And if a department head feels that their work needs to be compensated and compensated well at risk of losing them, we need to support that decision. This is my opinion.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Bergdorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I made some inquiries about these two positions because I too was concerned about the size of the raises. And my initial inquiry was, are these raises that just, follow the trend of a raise for the county clerk as it relates to, him starting a new 4-year term, or were these really merit-based raises? And the response that I got from one of the stingiest people in county government was that these titles, the people who actually run the county clerk's office and the Hall of Records, were originally salaried many years ago when we had typewriters with keys on them and microfiche, and that the jobs have become extremely more technical, require more expertise. There's a significant staff and management. There's working with the coding, et cetera. So while my original concerns was that these were very large raises, I am going to support them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bergdorf. Mr. Peter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to echo what the chairman said about, Mr. Hidley gave a good presentation. The county clerk's office runs very efficiently and did so all throughout COVID. I also made similar inquiries as my colleague, Mr. Bergdorf, did, and I agree with him. And therefore, I'm absolutely going to be supporting these raises. If there are no other questions, I would make a motion, although I see Mr. Clay has his hands up, so I will hold off on my motion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I was getting ready to second Mr. Peters' motion. So that's what I'm doing if he's offering the motion.
I would
Well,
love to
you go
offer a
ahead.
motion.
Are you ready?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I have a motion from Mr. Peter and I have a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on now. And we're now at the district attorney. Thank you very much. Mr. Peter.
Madam Chair, these raises seem to be relatively in line with what we're seeing throughout other places. Obviously, the retention of key employees is important, especially as we continue dealing with issues throughout the county. So I'd be supportive of this, and I'd make a motion if there are no other questions.
I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Peter. I'm sorry, I was looking at something. I got a motion from Mr. Peter and I have a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, so now we are, it's my understanding that all of the departments that are under the sheriff, emergency 911, the sheriff, and the correctional facility. I've been informed by council that we can take one vote on all three.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to take that as one, Madam Chair.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second from Ms. Lakakis I got a motion from Mr. Peter, a second from Ms. Lakakis to take all three of these one vote. Are there any questions on any of the items?
I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, so I got a motion and a second. All those in favor to take all the items?
Aye.
All right, opposed? Unanimous. All right, so now I'll entertain any questions on either one of the departments under the sheriff. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, we are now at probation. Thank you very much. Probation is passed without change.
Second, Madam Chair.
Okay, did you make a motion on that, Ms. Lakakis?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I got a
Second.
motion from Ms. Lakakis. I got a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to the public defender. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, Madam Chair.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Cacus. I got a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, I now have the alternate public defender, which is passed without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We are now on to, hold on a second. We are now on to law. Again, passed without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Cactus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We're now on to management and budget. Okay, Mr. Bergdorf.
I looked at this and I know I did not attend the meetings. Am I right in assuming this distribution to municipalities is the 40% of the increase that's added to sales tax revenue? What is this
The
160?
answer is yes, Mr. Bergdorf.
Oh, thank you. That was simple. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter.
if there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion on this.
All right. I got a
Second.
motion. I got a
Second.
motion from Mr. Peter and I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, we're now on to social services. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Nursing home, passed without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Motion from Mr. Peter,
Second.
second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We are now on to health. Mr. Epicoro? Or, I'm sorry, I thought I saw somebody's hand up. Maybe I didn't. Mr. Peter,
Madam Chair, if there are no questions, I'd like to make a motion to move the health.
Second.
okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, we are now on to mental health.
I'll make that motion to move mental health.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis. I got a second from Mr. Peter. Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, we are now on to crime victims.
I'll make a
Motion, Madam
motion.
Chair. So I will second Ms. Lakakis's motion. Lakakis.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Lakakis and who was the second?
It
Peter.
was me, Madam Chair. Matt
Okay,
Peter.
thank you very much. I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis, a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much. Unanimous. Aging. Okay. So if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion
Second.
from Mr. Clay. I got a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. All right, we're on to Veterans Bureau. Pass without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Motion from Mr. Peter.
I'll second.
I got a second from Mr. Cacus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, Human Resources and Civil Service, passed without change. Mr. Grimm, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I've submitted some deletions. I don't see it on the screen, but let me explain what they are. As many of you know, the Human Resources Department is proposing adding 5 employees to their 20-person unit. That's a 25% increase. And when I had a chance to talk with the director and also deputy county executive during the hearings, honestly, I wasn't convinced that we needed to add 5 new positions to a department that has 20 employees. So I'm willing to compromise and cut the new positions down to 2. So we're going up from 20 to 22. And those 3 positions I eliminate would be a personal administrator, which they already had personnel administrators, the personal assistant, they have personnel assistants, and an administrative aide, even though they have a receptionist and a legal secretary. So those totals are 68,000, 45,000, and 45,000, plus the Social Security you would of course save based on the salaries that you wouldn't have to pay. So my motion is to delete those 3 positions from the Human Resource Department. There's the page, yeah.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Berto.
I would be willing to second Mr. Grimm's motion.
He didn't make a motion. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it if he did. Let me just put it
Yeah.
on.
That's okay.
So, Mr. Grimm, did you make a motion?
Yeah, the motion is to delete those 3 positions, given that the HR department is already going from 20 to 22. I just think 5 new additional positions is not warranted based on my review.
All right, so I have a motion from Mr. Grimm and a second from Mr. Bergdorf on proposed changes to the Human Resources Department. So I'm ready to take a vote. All those in favor?
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Excuse me,
If I may speak briefly,
counsel?
just to make a note that the proposal that Mr. Grimm has put forward is not actually balanced because it excludes fringe. And because we cannot legally pass an unbalanced budget, that would be a legal issue and a legal impediment to moving forward with this. Just an FYI to the members.
It's a proposal to delete lines. You should, that's what anybody should be able to do.
Chairman Joyce.
Hey, again, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'll remind everyone about the Deputy County Executive came in and we spoke at the beginning of this process about the comprehensive workforce development plan that was undertaken initially. We may not understand, the need at each department, but the analysis was done. These department heads proposed and are telling us that this is what they need going forward, given all the impacts of the pandemic over the past 2 years and the strain on the county workforce. And I just think we're wading into tricky waters here if we're going to piecemeal and pick apart, these requests that were done with exhaustive analysis, at the executive level and the departmental level. If HR believes this is what they need to go forward to complete their mission, to continue their mission, we need to support it. And I don't know why we're getting into the weeds here on these.
Madam Chair? Well,
Mr. Peter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To echo something that the chairman said, our time to ask these questions of whether or not the staff was needed was during the hearings when those departments were in. They did not say they could compromise on this and still accomplish their mission. I'm against this resolution. I plan to vote no on it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right,
Madam
thank you.
Chair,
Can't see who that is.
Madam Chair,
Oh, Mr. Clay.
thank you, Madam Chair. I'm also opposed to that. I think that the agency heads, they came in, they presented a program. We went along with it. We did not disagree with it at that point in time. If this is what they say they need, then I think we are obligated to support it. At least we should support it anyway. It seems to me that to try to nickel and dime them at this point just would not be acceptable to me. Thank you.
I believe there was a motion on the floor. We should vote on that. Oh,
Madam Chair.
I would like to entertain Ms. Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did attend the discussion on the workforce development initiative that the Deputy County Exec presented, and I thought it was really forward-thinking, looking out to supporting and developing the county workforce, which is needed, necessary, and honestly the right thing to do on so many levels. That takes implementation. So this plan that the Human Resources Department presented, which by the way is probably one of the most taxed COVID departments during COVID, probably Human Resources almost, well, aside from the Health Department, is probably one of the most tax departments during a year where you're managing workforce and who's trying to achieve all of their work objectives. So I'm sure they had to deal with enormous hurdles during that. But the addition of the new positions is connected to the workforce development initiative that they presented, which is a major forward-thinking initiative of the county, and I commend them for that. But you need staff to make it happen, and the staff that was outlined matches that. So, coming in and saying, well, let's give them half of what they want would diminish the overall product, which is trying to put together a plan to develop and cultivate and professionally develop our staff in the county, which is supremely important. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I got a motion and
Madam
a
Chair.
second on the floor. Excuse me. I got a motion and a second on the floor. I'm going to entertain that now, and I'm going
Madam
to.
Chair, I'd like to speak on the motion.
Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, let's be clear. I've been to every budget hearing, and I asked more questions than any other member. And I did question the HR director and the deputy county executive about these positions, and I remain unconvinced that they should remain in the budget. I'm also a little disappointed that so many members feel that we shouldn't question anything that the agencies give us. That's what I'm hearing tonight. It's our job as legislators to review all of these budgets and to exercise oversight. That's what legislatures do. So I just totally disagree with that philosophy. Our role is to look through all of these suggestions, these proposals, and to make judgments. And in my judgment, I think these three positions are not essential. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Peter.
To respond to that, I don't think it's fair to say that we all, necessarily swallow everything a department says, is that we were convinced by it and that we're going to vote for it. You saying you're going to negotiate and say, hey, how about we give them 2 instead of 4 doesn't exactly scream of logic. So, yeah.
All right. So now we are going to take a vote. Mr. Peter.
Absolutely no.
Mr. Bergdorf.
No.
Mr. Clay.
And I'm not sure what we're voting on.
We're voting on the motion on the floor to accept the changes to human resources. The motion by, excuse me.
My vote is no.
Okay, Mr. Grimm.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Grimm,
Yes.
Mr. Joyce. Okay, he's absent. Ms. Lakakis,
No.
Mr. Mayo,
No.
Mr. O'Brien,
No.
and the chair votes no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 7. That's 7 noes, 1 yes, and 1 absent. So the motion is defeated. All right, so now we're going to move on.
Or Madam Chair,
Yes,
with the motion failing, I would like to make a motion to approve the Human Resources Civil Service budget without change.
thank you very much. I got a motion.
second it.
I got a second from Mr. Mayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, I have 1 opposed. All right. The motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, so now we are on to Children, Youth, and Family Services. If there are no questions, I'm going to entertain a motion.
So moved.
I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis. I got a second from,
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We're going to move on now to water purification, which is sanitary sewers and sewage treatment together. Are there any questions? No
Now I'll
questions.
make a motion.
Okay, no questions. I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis. I need a second from.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second.
Mr. Clay.
Okay, I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We are now on to Public Works. Yes. If there are no questions, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We're on to General Services now, pass without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Motion from
Second.
Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Board of Elections, pass without change.
Motion, Madam
So
Chair.
moved.
Let's see, figure out who that is. I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from
Me, I'll take it.
Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Economic Development, Conservation, and Planning.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm curious what the rationale is for adding the additional 250,000, given that there's already $250,000 in the original budget.
Mr. Wiley can take it.
Okay.
Funding clear.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Riley? 1 second. I don't see.
Madam Chair, I'm here, but that's a legislative ad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's funding for the line.
Correct.
Yeah, my question is, what's the rationale behind the legislative addition?
LDC.
This is funding for the LDC.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering why, what was the legislative determination to add 250,000 on top of the 250,000 that the county executive proposed?
We're hold on a moment. Mr. Joyce.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. That we want to continue to make investments in this burgeoning economic development structure that the county is developing. And if the county executive is going to make that type of commitment and investment, the legislature wanted to as well. I think I speak for a lot of our members, and we say we have a tremendous team put together within the Advance Albany County Alliance. They're onto some great things. I believe these investments are going to pay for themselves over the next several years. So I think the rationale behind that was county executive is going to make that type of investment. The legislature should figure out a way to as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chairman.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right, I got a
Second.
motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We're now on to the coroners, pass without change.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Kakis. I got a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Recreation.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Grimm?
yes, I also have a proposal for recreation. My concern is there's a new job being created in health, in the recreation department, health and wellness coordinator, $80,000. That's pretty excessive. So I want to make a motion to delete that. My position is, of course, health and wellness is important to our county. That's why we spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year on health and wellness. Social services, mental health, health department, those are the areas that are working effectively to deal with health and wellness. Creating an $80,000 position in the recreation department for health and wellness coordinator is not an essential position in my mind and should be deleted. And that's my motion.
Mr. Bergdorf?
I will second that motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Chairman?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to speak on the motion. We say health and wellness is important, but we don't want to fund a position to target that effort in the county. It doesn't make much sense to me. We're still talking about the pandemic. The effects of the pandemic are going to linger on for many years now. Investing in recreational jobs, investing in recreational assets has never been more important. This is exactly the type of work the county should be doing, through our recreation department, with the towns and municipalities to get kids out of the houses, and using recreational assets in the county, in the cities, and in the towns. And it's an increased focus. It's never been more important. And if we believe it's important, we need to make that investment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Bergdorf?
I find myself troubled by this position because while I agree with both Mark and I agree with the chairman, I was given a copy of the job description, and the job description has some so basic qualifications that demonstrate that nobody really has to have any experience in health and welfare, wellness, to assume an $80,000 a year job. And I'm going to vote for this deletion on that basis, that if we're going to hire somebody for $80,000, the job description should be reflective of a senior position in the organization. So I am going to vote for this amendment based on the job description.
Okay, all right, thank you. We are going to take the vote now by unadvised counsel. This is legally defective right now because it does not include the fringe. So right now, I'll take the vote. I just want to acknowledge Ray Joyce's presence now. So we'll start with Mr. Peter. We're voting on the motion for Mr. Grimm to do.
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Peter, Mr. Bergdorf,
Aye.
did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Aye.
Mr. Clay,
No.
Mr. Grimm,
Yes.
Ray Joyce,
Chair Phil votes no.
Ms. Lakakis. Lynn, you're muted.
It was a big sigh and then a no.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mayo,
No.
Mr. O'Brien,
No.
Ms. Willingham is no also. So we have 7 no's and 2 yeses. The motion is defeated. I'll now entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter to accept. I need a second, I'm sorry.
Second year.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Peter, a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right.
Madam Chair, is this vote on the recreation, the legislative adjustment, the youth recreation programming, which is $15,000?
Yes, it is. Yes.
This is something different. Yeah, this is something different than the wellness coordinator, correct?
Or is this the whole
No.
recreation budget? What
No,
are we voting on?
Excuse me, you made a motion to ask us to take your change. It was voted down
Right.
just now.
So
We're now on the motion to accept the recreation. And I got, accept the legislative adjustment here. I had a motion from Mr.
Peter.
Mr. Peter, and I had a second from
John Bryan?
Ms. Lakakis.
I think it was Mr. O'Brien, but
Okay, well, I had a motion.
you
from
can
Mr.
tell,
Peter
I
and a
can,
second-
it's
excuse me.
fine.
Okay, I had a motion from Mr. Peter and a second from Mr. O'Brien.
yeah,
Okay,
it's just, Madam Chair, to be
And-
clear, it's just for the $15,000 legislative adjustment, right? Am I correct on that? For youth
Yes.
program? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Okay, I'm for that.
okay, so,
Madam Chair,
okay, all right, hold it, just hold on one moment. Okay, and Mr. Bergdorf?
yes, I'm going to vote for this programming, but I would like to make a public request that the Human Resources and Personnel Department, which is going to be expanded, which I supported, take a look at the job description for the youth, the wellness coordinator, and try to beef it up so that there are more qualifications required. Now that they have some more horsepower, perhaps they could take a look at that position so that people could be a little bit more comfortable with it.
All right.
Just
so
a
Mr. Ber-
request.
Okay, so Mr. Bergdorf, you and Mr. Grimm have both changed your vote to yes?
Yes,
I
on
just
the
want-
15,000. I supported
Yeah.
his,
Okay.
but
thank
on the
you. So now-
overall $15,000 ad, I'm a yes.
All right, so
Yeah, I
now,
mean, I didn't vote no on this. I just wanted to clarify that it was on this 15,000 youth programming, which I support. So that's my yes vote.
okay, very good. So now we have a unanimous vote
Yeah.
on this. And Mr. Bergdorf, your comments are noted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, so now we're going to move on to Cornell Cooperative Extension. Pass without change.
So moved.
I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis and a second from,
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Civic Center, pass without change.
Motion.
I got a
Second,
motion from Mr. O'Brien, and I have a second from
I gave it to you. Lynn,
Mrs. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Soil and Water Conservation. Pass
Motion.
without change. I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien.
I'll second.
Second from,
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Let's see, I'm on stormwater. Pass without change.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clegg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right. Now we are on to the legislature. If there are no questions, Mr. Bergdorf, I see your hand is up.
Yes, I just want to let folks know, I'm going to vote against the legislative budget. And it has nothing to do with any of the specific numbers in the budget. I still believe that we have too many county legislators, and that I personally feel it's unseemly to have to vote on a budget for on a raise for myself. So I'm going to vote no on that basis.
All right, thank you. Oh, Mr. Peter.
I'd like to make a motion to move this.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, how many noes did I have? I see Mr. Bergdorf
That is correct.
and Mr. Grimm.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
My vote is no.
Okay, all right, so that's 2 noes and 7, assuming yeses. All right, Mr. Peter,
Yes, Madam Chair.
I see your hand up. Is that a mistake?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was from before. I apologize.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so now we are on to the contingent account, which says pass without change.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I have a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Mayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now on to revenue. Motion?
Motion, Madam.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Mr. Bergdorf.
I just had a question. If we increase sales and use tax revenue, does that mean that we are ultimately putting money in the fund balance, or is that offsetting some of the, I'm getting my debits and credits mixed up here. But if we're increasing sales and use tax, where does that money ultimately go? Into the general fund? Am I asking the question right?
Yes, you are. And you know what? I'm going to allow Mr. Ford to answer the question.
So the increase, we're increasing the anticipated revenue for sales and use taxes. The money is used to effectively offset expenditures, specific A fund expenditures, namely 250 for funding of the LDC discussed previously, and redistribution of the 40% to municipalities also discussed previously.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ford.
You got it.
You're very welcome. All right, so we did I entertain a motion in a second?
You did from me, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I got a motion from Mr. Peter and my second.
Got a second here.
Okay, I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Let's see.
Madam Chair,
Hold on a moment. Yeah, oh, yes, Ms. Cunningham.
just a quick question. Is this grid, is this in the committee materials? I don't remember seeing it, and if not, can it be shared?
Yes. Yeah, it's in the agenda.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
It's even facing the right direction on the pad, Joanne.
An
Okay,
added bonus.
I just want to thank everyone for your participation tonight. We have finished our business as far as this is concerned. And I just want to wish everyone a good evening here. And the next time we meet, there is a budget hearing on what's the date?
Oh, the
Next.
hearing?
Yes. Is it the 23rd?
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Okay, next Tuesday. I see that the chairman's hand is up. I'm going to recognize him. Chairman
Yes,
George?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to commend you on the tremendous work and your leadership that you've done up until this point, on this budget. It's a critical time in local government, critical time for all of us to deliver for the people that sent us here. And this work is just tremendous. And I give you all the credit in the world. Mr. Peter, Mr. Ford, Ms. O'Brien, Mr. Collins, Ms. Kennedy, and Mr. Russell, and all the staff there that are pulling long hours to put this all together and a product we can all be proud of and vote in favor of. So great work. Keep the great work up, and looking forward to seeing this thing through, and happy Thanksgiving.
Madam Chair, am I correct that we are meeting tomorrow night with the normal Audit and Finance Committee agenda?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
The budget hearing is Tuesday, the 23rd. And
Madam Chair, so we don't have any more budget hearings then? This is the last one? I know the normal finance meeting is tomorrow, but this is it for our budget hearings?
We're sending it to the floor tonight.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sending it to
No,
public hearing.
we have it. We have the hearing next Tuesday, and then after that, the 29th, it comes back to the committee, okay, and then in December we will vote on it.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. I just want to thank everybody. Carolyn, you got your hand up?
Yes, I do. I don't know whether I should bring this up now or at your meeting tomorrow, but I would just like to get some clarification as to the end result for any ARP money that came to Albany County.
Okay, so like right now, the ARP money is not part of the budget. Okay, so if you want to, you can bring this up tomorrow night. But as far as the budget is concerned, what you're talking about is not part of the 2022 budget.
Okay, so what you're telling me, this is a question and it does pertain to the budget. So I just want some clarification. So none of the money that we received from ARP money that we received is being applied to the 2022 budget.
No, it is not.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Fine.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to follow up on what Carolyn said. Well, one is a comment on at the last management and budget, when management and budget was here last, I asked if we could get some more information on the $27 million of the ARP funding, which my understanding it was applied towards budget deficits or lost revenue, which I'm not in disagreement about being a necessity, but I'd like some information if there's a chart or something in writing about exactly where that money went. I think it's important for us as a legislature to have that information. And also just on what Carolyn said, I understand that the ARP funding is not part of the 2022 budget, but I do think it's really important that we have a process that includes the legislature for spending this money, that it's transparent. And I think it does make sense to have that conversation, now. Maybe not right at this moment now, but during the budget process.
Okay, but right now, this is not, as was stated, it was not part of the budget. The other thing is this: Eric Ford will follow up with management and budget and get a response to your request.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Madam Chair, I would just like to make a comment. There seems that a number of people seem to believe that we are awash in money in Albany County. And everybody's talking about new programs and funding new programs. We have a budget that is going to go up a little bit less than 5%. There are people out there that are struggling, and I hope that we can show some budget restraint for the people that are now paying, close to $4 a gallon for gas and enduring 6% inflation, et cetera. And for 2022, I just hope, and I know the county executive has talked about it, that we need to be very conservative with our spending. And, I'm just a little concerned with some of the comments that I've heard over the last two meetings that folks are waiting to spend more money as it rolls in. And I just wanted to put that out there. I don't think we should be looking to enhance the 2022 budget that already has close to a 5% increase. Maybe we build our fund balance a little bit more. Maybe we can take a look. I personally, I know there are 17 contracts that are up for negotiation. And I've seen firsthand the type of work that some people on the bottom end of the payroll spectrum do. And, we've, in this budget, there are a lot of raises for people at the top end. And I think we've got to take some steps to make sure we solidify our existing county employees and do whatever we can to do to support them. So with that, that's my 2 cents for the evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. Chairman Joyce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a note and as an aside, we need to be very careful to not tie the ARPA question to anything we're doing with the 2022-2023 budget. I know we looked at what the city of Albany did initially by convening a task force to decide how money was going to be spent. We also saw the Albany Common Council applied some of their own legislative oversight to how that money was going to be spent. There is going to be legislative oversight over how ARPA funds are being spent in Albany County. But it's going to be done in cooperation, with county leadership and in, with a good cohesive, discussion. I would just be careful as we lean into the discussion about legislating any legislative oversight over ARPA funding. I think it needs to be a collaborative effort that's going to benefit everybody, not only the legislature and our ability to deliver for the people that elected us, but also the county executive's vision, going forward with ARPA funding and across the board. So I think we need to be ready to work together as opposed to when we bring that question about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I just, before I call for a motion to adjourn, I just want to thank everybody for their participation. Brandon and Rebecca, and especially Mr. Ford, who started on this many moons ago. And so, and my vice chair, Matt, I really appreciate you very much. He's been a great help. And I appreciate all the work that everyone has done, including Mr. Collins. I'm sitting right here.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Clay.
Before you close out, you have thanked everyone, and so do I. But I'd like to thank you. You did a great job at chairing this whole budget process. And I thank you. I thank you not only on behalf of the LBC members, but you really make us all look good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you so much. And Javon, I want to also thank you too for all the hard work that you did, because there was a lot of work that went into this. So, and thank you, Ms. Cunningham. So now I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn. Is that you, Mr. O'Brien?
Motion.
I got a motion, and I got a second from?
I'll take it.
A second from Mr. Caffey.